All right. And let's go ahead and begin. So I don't know how long this will take to put together. Might be kind of a longer sort of deal. Not really sure, but we'll find out. So let's go ahead and get started. We can see from the box that we kind of have some interesting things going on with the art on the front, particularly this bat logo, which I'm not sure if their printing just kind of messed up or what, but it's definitely a bat logo, and you can barely see it against the black of the box. I guess this was them trying to be a little more adult with the packaging, maybe, but I can barely see the bat logo, so that's something interesting. Here you have the model on the front. You have a little base right here. Looks like we got 410 pieces. Now, the price to part ratio on these sets aren't the best because I think you get a lot of large sets, a lot of large pieces, I mean, and they're not really meant to be like your normal kind of deal. So I think this one was 60, and that's not horrible, I guess. I do like some of the art on the back because there's some good things going on. You can see on the back we have some really cool artwork. Not really sure who did this one, but I think we all know this is the Jim Lee artwork from Hush. You can see Catwoman in the background there. And there's a look at the model. It says it's 8.5 inches tall, but that is counting the base and everything. It's also important to note that this is not like meant to be Batman's head. It's just meant to be the cowl, which I think is interesting. So we'll see about that. And let's see what's in the box. I've got the '89 Batmobile back there. Okay. We have the instruction manual. And kind of reminds me of the old school instruction manuals a little bit that have more of the spine to them. Like this here. This is pretty nice. Liking the artwork. Ooh, a little more modern there. And hey, this is how you use a brick separator, but you didn't know that. And it just shows you what comes in each bag. So you can see it looks a little colorful at the end of bag one. So let's get right to it. Any of you guys buy like used Lego sets where they're not in the bags anymore? It makes it 10 times harder to put together. All right. That's it for bag one. This. Some people organize everything by color. I'm not really sure if it helps, but some people do. I've done it a couple of times, especially when the pieces weren't very well organized any other way. But I don't think that'll be necessary here. Most of the set is, of course, just black pieces, but the interior pieces are all different colors. That's to, of course, help us differentiate as we go through. Let me get in a little closer here so we can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. All right, and everything is in the bag. You know, looking at the Batmobile back here, it makes me wonder how long it's going to be until we start seeing set photos of maybe the classic Batmobile, perhaps in the new Flash movie, since Michael Keaton Batman is supposed to be in the movie, so kind of makes me wonder. Guess we'll see. Maybe it won't even happen, but pretty sure you don't put Michael Keaton Batman in the movie unless there's an excuse to bring the '89 Batmobile in there as well. Just saying. Pretty sure. Seeing the '89 Batmobile back there just makes me wonder. Wonder about if that's going to be popping up in the new Flash movie. I mean, surely it will be. Surely. All right. Look at this. It looks just like Batman's cowl. It's funny in these early stages of these builds, it looks just like nothing. All right. This is it so far. I mean, in these early stages, what do we got? Like a hover go-kart with a battering ram on the front. Bingo. Right. This is the first ones of these like helmet sets I've picked up. So I'm kind of curious if these are going to be something I stick with, or if there's something that I'm going to say, okay, well, that was just all right, or what. I think they're pretty interesting looking sets. You know, usually I'm not at all interested in a lot of the Star Wars sets, not because they're not awesome, but kind of because I feel like I can never ever get caught up with them. I'm kind of a completist on everything. So for me, if I can't locate most of it, I just kind of say, well, I just can't do it, and I move on. So for me, I kind of wonder if that's not what keeps me away from a whole lot of the Star Wars stuff. But the helmets, though, look great. They just came out with the new series of Star Wars helmets, and I believe that has Darth Vader in it. It actually looks really terrific. And so, I don't know. That's something I feel like maybe I could get into. So, it's not impossible. Maybe that's something I might find myself slipping into. I don't know. Actual Star Wars sets, though, gee. I don't know how people collect those things. There's just so much money involved. One that I really liked was the Betrayal at Cloud City set. That actually looked terrific. But unfortunately, as soon as I got interested in getting the thing, I realized it had been retired for like 3 or 4 months. So, and I'm not paying the markups on that stuff. And it turns out Star Wars stuff gets marked up crazy when it comes to Lego. So I'm not doing it. I can't bring myself to do that. I mean, the prices on this stuff is crazy enough, let alone to be artificially inflated by something like, a Lego retirement. Which I understand. I'm glad that, there's at least some warning for people that are deep into that stuff. And I guess if I cared enough about it, I probably would have bought it when it was new. So I must not have cared that much. Still, though, would have been nice to have had. Hey, this is pretty cool. I guess this is the display stand so far. Yeah, it looks neat. Using the kind of rough texture pieces. Yeah, I like it so far. All right, now we're getting into some of like the Technic kind of pieces. I'm thinking that the inside of Batman's head is going to basically look like a robot. What is that in the Batman the Animated Series episode? His Silicon Soul, or Soul of Silicon, or I forget what it's called. Maybe somebody can help me. But it's the one where Batman has the robot impersonator that that company manufactures. It's still one of my favorite episodes. Now that's something that I hope we'll eventually see. I don't know about you guys, but I would definitely buy a Batman the Animated Series theme of Lego sets. I would be over the moon if they announced something like that. And I don't know when Warner Brothers is going to realize that Batman the Animated Series is just a license to print money. I mean, it really is. Whatever they can slap Batman the Animated Series on, you know, there's going to be some 30-year-old or 33-year-old, in my case, that will buy it. Good old nostalgia. It sells. All right, and I think we've got the bottom part of the base. And we have the stick that represents Batman's head. Fantastic. Stickman, is that you? All right, got that. Looks like we got some wedge pieces. You know, I applaud Lego for at least trying to mix up the colors of the internal bits a little bit, because there is so much black on a set like this that it's daunting to try to figure out which piece is which. And then could you imagine getting something like this used and none of the pieces were in the individual numbered bags? I mean, it happens to me all the time. I'm always trying to save money and buy this stuff used and all that when it's an older set, so I don't have to pay the crazy prices. But man, when it's all the same color. Triangle Palooza. All right, here we go. Looks like we're going to be using the transparent wedge pieces. 8 of those. What do you guys think about the Lego Batman movie? I don't know if... I know it made good money, but, I mean, I loved it. It shocks me that we don't already have Lego Batman 2, I'll be honest with you. I thought for sure that would be something that would just be, you know, like easy money for Warner Brothers or whoever, but didn't the Lego movie rights pass to another company recently? Didn't they sell them or do something with them? It was kind of different. Seems like that's the case. And if that prevents Lego Batman 2 from happening, then that's a real shame, because that was an incredible movie. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I think overall you could have done much worse with a Lego-themed Batman film. Not something that I ever would have thought in a million years if you would have told me 10 years ago. Yes, mine too, Kayla. That was, in my heart, it was a big hit. How about that? In my heart, huge. Lobster Thermidor. My favorite element of the movie. I don't know why, but all those weird scenes where Batman's just in Wayne Manor and he's just chilling. He's like trying to heat stuff up in the microwave, trying to fight his chronic loneliness. I don't know. It really worked for me. Probably one of the strangest, most melancholy things I've ever seen in something that's supposed to be essentially a kid's movie. But that's the offbeat Lego humor, I guess. So this set is supposed to represent Batman's cowl without him actually wearing it. I think it's supposed to be a display. Pizza time. That's right, Waylon. Waylon, I was shocked by your incredible taste in quotes. I thought that was an incredible choice. I want you to know I'm here for it, man. I read that and it just I don't know, man. I just loved it. Good taste. All right. Speaking of pizza time, maybe we'll see Tobey Maguire back as Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. It's possible. All right. Look at that. It looks just like Batman's mask. It's perfect. Nothing else required. That's what everybody wants, right? All right. Let's see what we got. I'm pretty sure we're building the transparent section where, like, the mouth of the cowl is supposed to be open. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. I think. I'm never really able to predict in the early stages of a build what exactly it is I'm building. Maybe I can actually predict this. Favorite Spider-Man? Ooh, gee, Waylon, I don't know, man. You know, like, okay, when I was your age, I probably, you know, Tobey Maguire, that was when the first Spider-Man movie with him came out. And for me, it is really hard not to just default straight to Tobey Maguire when I think of who my favorite Spider-Man is. And that's not to say that the other ones weren't great, because you've got, you know, even like Andrew Garfield, which a lot of people didn't like that much, in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I actually really liked him a lot. I actually thought he did a great job, and he's a great actor on top of everything. And Tom Holland is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Kayla, that's that's what I was getting around to is when it really comes down to it though, like in my head, whenever I read a Spider-Man comic, I still hear I think his name was Christopher Daniel Barnes that played the animated Spider-Man's voice, and he also played Greg Brady in those remake movies of the Brady Bunch. Like, yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but it was funny when I was a kid and we went to go see that first remake Brady Bunch movie in the '90s. I instantly knew that that was Spider-Man too, because I mean, how could you not with his voice, you know, just being so instantly iconic. And as a kid, I mean, the animated Spider-Man was where it was at. So hard for me not to say Christopher Daniel Barnes. So he made a big impression on me. The rumor right now is that we're going to have Christopher Daniel Barnes return as the animated Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse 2, which I'm really excited about that possibility. I hope that's true, and I hope that's not just wishful fanboy thinking. It gets turned into a rumor, and then everybody's disappointed when it doesn't happen. So, who knows? Maybe that's their ace in the hole for what they can do with Into the Spider-Verse. I hope it is. I mean, I'm all for it. I don't care a bit, you know, about, oh, it's too fan servicey. I don't care. Give it to me. Who cares about legitimacy? If it's fun, I really don't care. All right. See now, maybe after I put this piece on, it'll instantly be recognizable as Batman, right? Look. He's a black square man. He's everybody's favorite, I heard. That's what I heard. All right. Yeah, I think that's right. I agree, Kayla. You know, and I know that we have some excellent, you know, there's been some excellent superhero cartoons in the last few years, but I don't know. I think there was something in the water or something at that time, like creatively. But, you know, and it wasn't just the animated, like comic book superhero shows. There was original properties like Gargoyles, and even those were incredible in the same kind of way that like Batman the Animated Series was incredible in. Val Kilmer. You know, Waylon, when I was, I guess I was probably, yeah, I think I was about 8 or 9 when Batman Forever came out. And me and my brother were super disappointed about Michael Keaton not returning as Batman. I remember my brother especially, he was devastated. But then we watched Batman Forever, and Val, I thought, actually did a really good job as Batman. And Batman Forever is kind of an exciting movie. It's kind of, I mean, it's not as good as Batman or Batman Returns, but I don't know, it's kind of fun, especially if you were a kid, like in 1995, like I was, and I was a very young kid, and I just thought it was magical. I mean, I was excited to death by Batman Forever. And so it kind of hurts me, like, as an adult, to hear people talk about poor old Batman Forever like it's just the biggest dog of a movie that ever was, because I don't really think that's fair. I think that Batman Forever accomplished exactly what it was supposed to be, which was a really entertaining, like, kids film, like a really entertaining, like, colorful Batman movie. And that's what it was supposed to be. And I think people don't have it in the right context because people forget Batman Forever was like the biggest movie of 1995. Like it really was. Like it was huge. Batman Forever, I mean, it was like a cultural phenomenon when it came out. And people don't believe it, I guess, because they weren't there. But if you were there and you lived it, it was huge. And plus it was just one of those deals where the promotion was so huge for the movie, and the like McDonald's. Kayla, you might remember these. These had these glass mugs that were meant to look like Batman, Riddler, and Two-Face and Robin, and they were like the nicest things that McDonald's probably ever offered at that time. They were unbelievable little products, and you had to like buy a value meal to get them. So I think I was having Dad buy a bunch of value meals because like most kids, I was into my just chicken nuggets and like plain cheeseburgers. I didn't want hardly anything that came in the value meal. But it was a phenomenon. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Waylon. Yeah. She probably remembers that very well. My mom found some the other day. I think they were in like the garage. We'd stored them. And yes, she's took good care of those things. And they're nice too. Like they're not just little rinky dink, like just like throwaway like Happy Meal items. No, like these were like you can bring these out when you have company over. I mean, you're not playing around when you got the Batman mugs. I mean, these were really good. And they lasted too. Like if you kept them in like decent shape, they're still really good little items for what they are. What I like about this Batman cowl that I'm building right now, at least according to the box, I'll see how I feel about it when it's all put together. But this is more of just like, it's not supposed to be, oh yeah, Kayla, you're absolutely right. They're big reusable cups. Those things are awesome. But this Batman like isn't necessarily supposed to be like one particular version of Batman. Like the Lego people said that this is supposed to be like representative of practically any Batman, whether it's comics or the movies. They said it's like their own little mix of different things. However, it's hard for me not to look at a big Batman mask made out of bricks and not just think of Will Arnett, Lego movie Batman, Lego, Batman movie, however you want to say it. Hard for me not to think of him. And Will Arnett was actually a legitimately good Batman, so much so that I think you could almost just put Will Arnett, like the actual guy, in a Batman costume, and it might sort of work. Yes, Waylon, I am cautiously optimistic about Rob Pattinson Batman. Cautiously optimistic. And the truth is, I don't really know what to expect. I know that he's a good actor. And the little trailer that they shown looked good. So I'm going to say that let's hope it turns out okay. But it's kind of difficult for me, though, because in my mind, Ben Affleck is still Batman. And that's difficult for me because, I want to give Robert Pattinson as good a chance as I possibly can because I think he's really going to do a good job. And I've been pulling for him for a while as Batman. It wasn't one of those deals where it got announced and I was like, oh man, that guy from Twilight. No, I understand that actors are actors and they do a lot of different things, and just because you were in one thing doesn't mean you're like saddled with that for the rest of your life. So I am looking forward to it. I think his costume looks cool. Like it's kind of, I don't think it's what anybody expected, and that's probably the healthiest thing that you can possibly do with a character like Batman. Don't do what people necessarily expect, or heck, sometimes don't even do what they want. You're going to have something that is so much more interesting, and it may not be exactly what you expected, but it's certainly going to be something you remember. And I think at the end of the day, with a character like Batman, who's been around, 80 plus years, if it's not memorable, if it's not different, then you probably didn't do it right. So that's my take on that. And even in 1989, when Michael Keaton became Batman, that was, people hated him. They heard that Michael Keaton had been cast as Batman, and they were up in arms. They said, okay, well, they've ruined it. They've destroyed the Batman character. And sure enough, years later, people would fight you over Michael Keaton Batman. And now he's going to be back in The Flash. So that's solidifies that, I would say that, and I think there was an opinion poll a little while back that I think that Michael Keaton still ranks number one in terms of Batman. Which it's funny, if you gave that poll in the, yeah, that's right, Waylon. I remember this, Waylon. I remember they announced him, and this was, I think, 2007 when they announced, late 2006, something like that, when they announced that he would play the Joker. And I remember the internet, which isn't even what it is now, exploded with hatred for Heath. And I remember I was mad at people because of how bad they acted over it. And I kept saying, okay, Batman Begins was brilliant. This is, so great. Why wouldn't you trust Christopher Nolan? He has a plan. This is all going to turn out okay. And happy to say I was right. That was, turned out it was, well, honestly, it'll probably never be topped. So that's probably, if you want to know how that Joker turned out, I would say people will struggle for the rest of their careers, anybody who plays the Joker, to ever escape Heath Ledger's shadow. No one would have ever believed that someone would have become more iconic than Jack Nicholson as the Joker. But you know what? I think, pretty sure at this point in our culture, I'm pretty sure Heath Ledger is a little more recognized, his portrayal as the Joker, than Jack Nicholson's. And I don't even think it's better. I just think it's different. Yeah, yeah. Joaquin is more. I guess it's more like psychological. He's more of a. I don't know. It's just different. It's just different. And Joaquin is the only one who's been able to do a version of the Joker that escapes everybody saying, "Well, Heath Ledger's better." He's the very first one to be successful at escaping that. So good for him. He did something completely different. And then there was a lot of people who don't even like Batman who were commenting on that movie. So anytime your movie can get to a bigger audience, you probably accomplished something anyway. This is so funny. It's looking more like McDonald's Play Place than the Batman Cowl. Yeah, that's McDonald's. So you got a little slide right there, and it's all Ronald McDonald colors. Which, if you all want a laugh, I suggest that you look up on Google an action figure that was made by a Chinese company where they take a Heath Ledger Joker and they turn it into the Ronald McDonald colors. And they take like a Joker figure and they like bootleg it, they pirate it. And it's called Burger Uncle. And they called it this to escape copyright infringement stuff from either McDonald's or Warner Brothers. And every time I see it, I just laugh hysterically. I don't think there's ever been a funnier like rip-off action figure made. And this was real. People have ordered it and gotten them in. I'd say the quality is probably like atrocious because it's some kind of foreign bootleg. But Burger Uncle has to be one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my life. Makes me hope that Batman fights Burger Uncle in the next movie. Burger Uncle. Surrender. Give me my cheeseburger. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's fun. It's funny you'd say that, Waylon, because I was just watching him last night, and I have the Blu-ray box set of all the different Adam West Batman episodes, and I have really enjoyed watching that. And honestly, that was the first version of Batman I ever saw too, like ever. There was an old channel, and I would say that your parents or your grandparents probably remember this. And it was called the Family Channel. Family Channel is where you could catch all of the Batman reruns. They were the only place that shown it. I didn't know it existed till I saw it on the Family Channel. And to say that it rocked my world was like an understatement. I didn't know what to think. I was so impressed by the 60s Batman show. I thought it was the greatest show I had ever seen in my life. So it captivated me. I was just amazed. Even the simple stuff amazed me about that show, like Batman walking up the wall with a grappling rope and everything. Like I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And sometimes I would only catch certain episodes on that were like part 1 or part 2. I wouldn't see the other part, and I would have to just imagine what happened. And so, as a matter of fact, last night I was watching some of the Blu-rays, and it was so funny, like 30 years later, for me to see the other part of episodes I'd only seen part 1 or part 2 of. And that was weird because if I had seen the first part, I mean, I was 3 or 4, so I probably don't remember it, whatever it is. But it was weird to see it. And I've actually been working on a bigger Lego set, which really wouldn't be good for a live stream because it's much more complex and it takes forever and you couldn't get it done in one setting. And hopefully the idea is that we get this done in one setting. And it is the 60s Batcave with Adam West. It has all the minifigures, which, as a matter of fact, I'll show you. I'm actually propping my camera up with this. I don't know if you guys are seeing this at Walmart lately. This is the brand new version of 60s Batman, Adam West. And it is a new version of the Batmobile, so I'm hoping to do a video about this pretty soon. I think it'll take a little while to build. I don't know if it'll be suitable for a live stream or not, but it might be something I look into. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. I probably didn't need that to prop up the camera anyway. I think it looks better like this. All right. You know, it's a good question. Let me look on the back. I think Batman just comes with a Batarang. I think that's it. Shark repellent bat spray. Can never have too much of that stuff laying around. It makes me wonder how big Batman's utility belt is. If he has something for every occasion. I mean, what else does he have? Does he have like snake repellent? Does he keep like a taco in the bat belt? Like he has to have a little bit of everything in there. So it's possible. That's all I'm saying. It's possible. All right, let's put I'm going to call these the walls of Batman's head right there. Lodge Batman's, his brain right in these. It actually does look like a McDonald's. I mean, look at this. These are like the little windows. You can see, oh my gosh. Lego, did you sell me a McDonald's set? You sly dog. He scares Uncle Burger with Taco Bell. Oh, man. Poor old Burger Uncle. I had a funny experience at Taco Bell the other day. This is a bonus story for you, Waylon. This is one I didn't tell the other day, but I need to tell this story because this is true. I've never been so disappointed in a restaurant ever. I went to Taco Bell, and I waited in the drive-thru line for forever. And I love Taco Bell, like any red-blooded American. Love Taco Bell. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And it's taking the guy in front of me forever to order. I mean forever. And I'm really just starting to wonder what on earth is going on with this Taco Bell. And he sits there and sits there. Nothing happens. And there's 3 or 4 more people in front of me. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And I finally get up to order at the little thing. and there is a tiny little paper sign. And this has been a huge line I've waited through for like 20 minutes. And on this tiny little paper sign, it says, closed today for maintenance. I could not believe it. I had waited this entire time, and everybody else did too, for a Taco Bell that was completely shut down, and not a one of us knew it. Not a one of us. And I mean, I didn't know what to do. As I drove off, you know, you could see everybody still waiting in line, and there was really no way to like warn them, because once you're in the line, you're trapped in there. There was no way to drive out of it. You're like in a little road and there's nowhere to go. So those people were probably just as disappointed as I was. I was mad and hungry. So hungry. All right. Are these the chimneys of the McDonald's here? I'm going to say they're the chimneys. There we go. Maybe Burger Uncle was in there and he was trying to take the tacos. Maybe he was tired of eating the burgers at McDonald's. And he kept asking them if they wanted to hear how he got those scars. He then explained it was from eating a hot apple pie too quickly. Burnt the sides of his mouth. That's tough. It's tough. But it turned out that was what really happened. Look at this McDonald's here. And it kind of looks like a dude's face right here. You can see the two eyes. There's a little like yellow mouth. And it looks like he's got a little beard, like little mutton chops right there. Maybe a hat. It's kind of what it looks like. Batman's not going to be happy with me if I keep comparing him to McDonald's. I better watch my mouth. He's been known not to take too kindly to that sort of criticism. All right. Let's see. This on there. Maybe this will start looking like something. Which it's funny, I don't know how soon that this starts just going to all black pieces before it's just, you know, difficult to find each individual piece, because this is, so far it's pretty colorful. There's a lot more color on the inside than I thought there would be. Let's see. And I'm almost through bag one, so we're a third of the way there. We've got over to the side here. Got this. This must be the very tip top of Batman's head, I guess. And then back here. Just got to make sure I'm not messing it up. I guess you like hang all the other pieces off these supports on the inside. Kind of makes me wonder if the Star Wars sets, like, are they this colorful? Like underneath Darth Vader's helmet, does he look like a McDonald's as well? Maybe under his helmet he looked like a Death Star. That's what we'll say. We'll save Darth Vader his dignity and say that he looks like a Death Star. All right. So this. Ah, I did that wrong. I did good. First mess up in the build. I almost made it through a whole bag without putting something in the wrong spot. Look at that. Didn't even stick. I keep seeing memes where people like write product reviews for Lego sets that they get, and I don't know if this is real or if this is just a joke or what, but it's some woman who is very, very upset about the quality of her Lego set because she has a picture and she says, "My Lego set arrived broken," and she just shows it and it's just all the individual pieces. I hope that's not real. I hope that that is a joke. Because if that's real, then I think I've lost faith in humanity. I hope that's just one of those joke memes that like it didn't really happen. I could see it though. I could see somebody getting something like that and thinking that they wouldn't have to put it together or the picture online. So it is real? I mean, that's nuts. You hope something like that's not real? It probably is. It probably is. It's welcome to America, where people are chronically lazy about putting their Lego sets together. Maybe that's an option that Lego could make like a fortune from, is it could be like, hey, for $20, you can buy the pre-made option where our experts have built it for you. Every now and then I would give money for them to put the stickers on for me because I can't stand putting the stickers on because I have OCD so bad about getting it perfect. Ooh, George. I'll tell you what. When I was a kid, I thought he was really good. As a kid, I thought, oh yeah, this is fun. This is Batman. I enjoy it. I love it. As an adult, I know that he's not too great as Batman, and he'll tell you he's not too great as Batman. He'll agree with that criticism. But I'll tell you, on the bag too. I'll tell you what people don't really talk about very much, and because I always want to look for the good in it, is I think he's a really good Bruce Wayne, and not even in the same league as Christian Bale and Ben Affleck and all the others that came after, but I think that especially in the scenes where he's talking to Alfred and when he believes Alfred is dying from McGregor syndrome, and which is a made-up disease, by the way. And he tells Alfred that he loves him and that Alfred was like a father to him. And I thought, you know what? It's really some beautiful, touching scenes in Batman and Robin. They get no credit. Like, nobody is going out of their way to give Batman and Robin credit. And I think they ought to, because there's some good things in Batman and Robin that will make you feel good. Good things with the team being like a family, and Alfred's okay at the end, and spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie, 20-year-old movie, whatever you want to say. 25, that's what we'll say. And I mean, I don't know. It makes me feel good. So if you're watching a movie that makes you feel good, I mean, that's something. Could be worse. Might. And then, Batman and Robin makes a lot of people laugh. I sort of think it's supposed to make you laugh. I mean, honestly, as silly as that may sound, I think it's a Batman movie that's supposed to be kind of funny. Which I think what they were going for was they were trying to be like an homage to the 60s Batman, which I think is fine. You can turn Batman as like a diamond. And that's what Frank Miller said, the famous Batman writer. He said that you can turn Batman any which way and he'll still shine. You can make Batman funny. You can make him dark. You can make him violent. You can make him campy. You can make him for kids. You can pretty much do whatever with Batman. And he ends up still being an entertaining character. He's still interesting, no matter what you do. And that's why I think the character has endured for 80 plus years. I think that not many other characters can do that. That's why so many characters come and go. That's why so many movies come and go. So many things get popular, then go away. But before people bash like silly Batman too much, I would caution them to, yeah, that's right. Exactly right, Kayla. Yeah, I really liked the rubber suits too. I thought those were incredible. I mean, especially as a kid, I remember, going to Toys R Us when the Batman, and this was 97, and I remember those Batman and Robin toys had just come out, and I was so excited. And what was funny was the movie was pretty much designed to sell toys. That was the whole point of the movie. And mission accomplished, because I bought them. So, good for them. Yeah, Kayla, that was, it was something I was just thinking about earlier, how much of a misstep the Jesse Eisenberg casting was. And here's the thing, I really like Jesse Eisenberg, but I don't think that, I think they were going for something that I'm not really sure what they were going for. And it's really weird to me, because Zack Snyder perfectly cast, and I believe this, like everything else. Like, there's not a single role that he's ever cast that wasn't, like, perfection. Because, I mean, the guy has an incredible eye for casting. And it's just weird that the Jesse Eisenberg thing happened. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. I don't even know what it means. I don't know what he was going for. I don't know what the point of the casting is. It's strange. I guess he had a very specific idea about Lex Luthor that it just so happens most people didn't share. And I think that happens with these directors sometimes. I think they have like a pet idea about a character, like a pre-established character, that they get there and like it turns out nobody else was thinking what they were thinking. And that's okay. It happens, but don't be surprised when you get the backlash because nope. No Jesse Eisenberg from me. However, I will say that he grew on me like over time, and he become much more bearable, I think, in the role, especially with the Snyder cut of the Justice League. Then I kind of, and he has a little scene at the end, little coda, and that worked for me pretty well. But it was just kind of strange getting there, kind of strange. Oh yeah, yeah. I actually really like Ezra. He works for me. But I can definitely see where maybe that was maybe a little much, especially how they tried to go with a over caffeinated kind of jittery version. So I don't know. I definitely think that it's interesting. It's interesting. Did you see where Ezra Miller was on the CW Flash? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2. I have to count. Robin. There we go. Autocorrect. The enemy of all that is good and decent. Yeah, me too. I actually think that, and here's the thing. I bet that they're not even planning to do Robin in this new Batman movie either. And if they're not, that's a shame. Because I kind of feel like Robin's been absent for so long in Batman movies that, I mean, at some point, you've got to come back around to that. I mean, even in the Lego Batman movie, it was just good to see Robin in the movie. I was always a big fan of Robin. You're talking to the guy who dressed up as Robin like 3 or 4 times when I was a kid, mostly because Josh was Batman. So that was my role. I was okay with it though, because I loved Robin. I thought he was great, and it's kind of like what Bob Kane, regardless of how much he really did or did not create Batman, it's kind of like what he used to say about Robin. He said that as a kid, you can't always necessarily imagine that you're Batman, but you can probably imagine you're Robin pretty easy. And that actually worked for me as a kid. I remember as a kid, I remember a lot of me, my pretend was imagining that I was Robin. Wasn't, and because I guess I could see, as a kid, you can see yourself in that role as like Batman's helper or his buddy or like the guy who has to assist him. It's almost like that no one can approach the awesomeness of actual Batman. So it almost makes it a little more palatable, a little more doable in your head, I guess. So it's a fun bit of psychology, really. And I think it works. I think little boys especially love to imagine themselves as Robin. And then things like Dark Knight Returns with like Carrie Kelly Robin. Little girls love to imagine that they're Robin as well. So I mean, that's I think that's cool that you get so many different opportunities to imagine that you're hanging out with Batman, you're fighting crime, all that stuff. And Michael Cera was a very funny, good Robin in Lego Batman. That is who played him, right? Michael Cera. Kayla, am I right on that? Am I crazy? Well, Waylon, it sounds like you had the same experience I did as I grew up. And I'll have to remember to show you sometime a picture of me. And it was when Batman Forever came out. My brother Josh, He dressed up as Val Kilmer Batman, and I was Chris O'Donnell Robin. And I was very excited and very happy to be playing the part because I think Chris O'Donnell was an excellent Robin. I really do. I think he did a great job. And it's cool to see Chris O'Donnell. And what is it? NCIS or something? What is it that he's on with what's his name? It's cool that he's got like a TV show now and that he's doing well, because I always kind of wondered what happened to Chris O'Donnell. And then yes, NCIS. And, and I think he deserved something good. And it's great to see him become like a TV star, because I really liked the guy. And I'll tell you what's really funny is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Christian Bale, yes, Christian Bale tried out to be Robin in Batman Forever. It's true. In 1994 or whatever, teenage Christian Bale was one of the people who tried out to be Robin. Matt Damon tried out to be Robin. And Ben Affleck said a little while back that he wished so hard that Matt Damon had been Robin so that he could have held it over his head for the rest of his life that he was Batman and Matt was Robin. Oh, I guess I'd pay money to see that. I really would. And I don't know if you all know it, but Robin was actually cast for Batman Returns. They actually had an actor lined out, ready to go, and Tim Burton told Warner Brothers that he absolutely did not want to do Robin under any circumstances. And of course, they were heartbroken, and they still had to pay the actor. Bet y'all will never guess who the actor is who was hired to play Robin. That was Marlon Wayans. Seriously. Marlon Wayans was cast as Robin in Batman Returns. He even talked about it a little while back in an interview. And it was wild because, I'd read about it for years and never really, it's one of those things, you're never really sure about something like that. But to hear him actually discuss it and discuss the process and be like, yeah, I got cast as Robin, it was weird to see it like actually out there, and, it not actually be like a, just a rumor or hearsay, and him be like, yeah, I was cast, they still had to pay me, I was really young. It was weird. But I don't know, I think that would have been cool. There's a Robin figure that I had when I was a kid, and it's the Batman Returns Kenner Robin figure, which I remember as a kid thinking, why is there a Robin figure and for the Batman Returns toy line? What does this even mean? Because there wasn't even a hint of Robin in the movie, like not even a little bit. And of course, years later, of course, I learned, okay, well, the reason he even has a figure is because he was supposed to be in the movie. And if you look at the head sculpt on that figure, you can kind of see that it kind of, I'm not saying like 100%, it sort of kind of resembles Marlon Wayans. And then it all makes like perfect sense. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Waylon, when he was doing interviews, I didn't even know until like The Dark Knight was about to come out. When he did interviews for Batman Begins, he used a fake American accent, which nowadays no one would ever do. But back then he said that he thought that it would freak people out if they heard Batman have a British accent. So he totally lied on the accent, which, be my guest, I guess, if that's what, that's what floats your boat. Yeah, Tim Curry, yeah. Apparently the only reason why Tim Curry, at least this is what they say, and I don't know if they're just being gentlemen about it or what, but they said he got sick, and so he wasn't able, he had laryngitis or something, so he wasn't able to do his lines, and so Mark Hamill had been pestering Bruce Timm and them because they knew him, they were all friends. He'd been pestering them for months to let him be the Joker, and they're like, well, okay, Tim Curry's sick or whatever, yeah, you can try. And to this day, there's still debate over the first episode that they recorded with the Joker in it about whether or not you can actually hear like some of Tim Curry's laughs and things that they still used, which, to me, that sounds like gold. If anyone but Mark Hamill had played the Joker. It's unfortunate for Tim, isn't it? I mean, to me, Tim Curry is like, a master thespian. This is like one of the greatest actors of all time. How strange is it that I can then say, oh, but it's, hey, Emily, how you doing? It's strange for me to be able to say that, okay, well, Tim Curry is, oh, he's not nearly as good as this other guy that ended up doing that. That's weird for me. I don't think I would say that about any other role. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He is great. There's also a really famous voice actor named Kevin Michael Richardson, who's been in like everything, by the way. He played Joker's voice in a show called The Batman, which was on when I was a teenager. And that's a good cartoon, by the way, if you've never checked it out. I have all the DVD sets. I'll have to bring those around sometime for you guys to watch. But that's a really good show, and Kevin Michael Richardson is really, really good as the Joker. Really good. And it's a very different kind of Joker. It's like he's got like a really zany look. He almost looks like an alien or something. So that was really cool. Still one of my favorites to play the Joker's voice. Which I remember when they were getting the Arkham Asylum game, when it was going to come out, people were absolutely shocked when they announced that Mark Hamill would be coming back to play the Joker's voice, because he hadn't done it in a couple years at that point. He'd done it on Justice League a couple of times. But it was like, it rocked people's world. And then it became just an expected thing that Mark Hamill would always play the Joker. So I think he figured out that he could basically do that for the rest of his life. And that would be his job. All right. What can we say this looks like? It looks like 2 snowboards on a black piece of carpet. Bingo. That's what we'll say it is. I'm still all about my robot Batman head theory. There it is, robot Batman head. You can see he's got some... Of course, the top of Batman's head is done then, I guess. It must be the top of Batman's head. So that looks good. All right. With Lego pieces, especially sets where everything is practically the same color, like all these black pieces, I find myself having to like count studs like individually. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree with that, Kayla, about Tim Curry. It really makes me wonder if maybe they heard it and he was great. Like, he was fantastic. But they heard it and they looked at each other and they were like, ugh. Like this, is this really what we want for this show? Is this really what kids would want? And I couldn't imagine having someone like who sounded like Pennywise playing the Joker. Because I was scared enough of the Joker when I was little. Especially those first episodes that he's in Batman the Animated Series. I'll be honest, I was horrified. You remember, Kayla, the one about Mayor Hill's son? And he has the clown over, and it turns out it's the Joker. He replaces, like, the birthday clown. And he kidnaps Mayor Hill's son. That absolutely... Waylon, I'm liking it, man. The Val Kilmer Batman smile is classic. It's classic. Yes, absolutely, Kayla. That is me as well. I am always counting, to be sure, always counting. But yeah, that episode particularly absolutely horrified me as a kid, and I think it was because I kept worrying that the Joker was going to like kidnap me or something, which sounds ridiculous. Yeah. You're probably right about that, actually, about the two similar to him. I think that would have been... I mean, who knows? Maybe Tim Curry himself realized, okay, well, I'm kind of playing the same... This is the same kind of deal over again. I don't think any actor would want to do that. And I think Tim Curry was far too wise to just be like, okay, and that's why I say that it might be just a gentleman thing where they keep saying things like, oh, he was sick. you know, or oh, he had laryngitis. I'm not sure about that. That sounds a little like trying to be nice. I think it really might be okay. They did. It wasn't what they hoped it would be. Um, which I don't know if you know this, but you ever watch that old show? It was on Fox Kids in like the late '80s, early '90s. It was called Peter Pan and the Pirates. This was a series where Tim Curry played Captain Hook, and that's kind of the point that a lot of people make when they say that Tim Curry was cast as the Joker, is that he already had like this relationship with Fox because they had already hired him to play Captain Hook, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling on him playing the Joker in the first place, and then it fell apart. Let's see. You know, we were talking about iconic voices earlier, and one voice that I will probably never get out of my head as the like default voice that I'm always going to stick with whenever I read a comic book is Ed Asner, Lou Grant from Mary Tyler Moore Show. Ed Asner as J. Jonah Jameson. I don't think I can ever leave that behind. I will never, ever be able to read J. Jonah Jameson without just hearing Ed Asner's voice, which is a real testament to his abilities as an actor. You know, it amazes me that Ed Asner still acts, and I'll see him and stuff, and it's amazing to see him. You know, he is very far in his years, and he still puts forth such an effort and does such a great job in everything that he's in. And when I see him pop up, I am thrilled because, you know, he was a big part of my childhood. I was watching those reruns of Mary Tyler Moore Show. Oh, I didn't know that, Kayla. Which I guess, you know, I didn't see a whole lot of that series. Megan really liked that series. You are talking about the old Little Mermaid TV show, right? I remember Megan. She still has some VHS, like a collection of the VHS tapes from that series, and she absolutely loved that show. I do remember one thing about that series because it was on some of the Disney sing-along tapes, and that was that song, that Harmony song. Right? Wasn't that the theme song for the show? Yeah, he does. That's true. No arguments there. He's the real deal. You know, I really hope that he's in good health. I worry about him, and I worry about Ed Asner and all those guys. You know, and it's like I know that I don't know them personally, but you know, when you've grown up with watching someone, you can't help but care about their health and how they're doing. Hope they're all right. I'm gonna have to check that out. There's a lot of little gems on Disney Plus that I need to see which Gargoyles is on there. Which honestly, I need to go back and watch Gargoyles because that was a real show. You know, Jonathan Frakes is on Gargoyles, of course, and Riker. And I found a video the other day where, you know, there's that show. What did Frakes do? That show where he asks all the ridiculous questions. He's like, "Have you ever did this? Have you ever seen this? Have you ever?" And it goes on and on and on, and all those meme videos people make. But whatever that show was called, somebody took that and what's his name on Gargoyle? Xanados or something? Xantos or something? And yeah, exactly. It's like Uncle you don't visit often. I agree with that. But they took that and they added all those lines that Frakes says in that weird show to that character in Gargoyles. And they like matched up. I'll have to send it to you sometime. Remind me to send you this. And it is as funny as all get out. I could barely watch it. It was so great. It's funny. I'm sure this is supposed to be Fact or Fiction. Thank you. That is exactly what it was called. This is supposed to be, I think, the side of Batman's head or something. So it's going to be interesting to see how curved. Maybe this is the back of Batman's head, I think. It's going to be interesting to see how curved this is or isn't. how bulbous Batman said. Xanatos. There we go. Xanadu, I think I wanted to say. There was a gun safety episode of Gargoyles, which you've probably seen, Caleb, because it's the one where a gun accidentally goes off, and it's trying to show you how dangerous that guns are in that episode. It's supposed to be like an educational episode. And I remember it horrified me as a kid because there is actual violence in that episode. There's blood after somebody's hit by a bullet. And I was a very sheltered child. And so seeing anything like that in a cartoon was just instantly, to me, it was traumatizing. And so I remember when I saw that episode, I like panicked because I was so sheltered. I didn't ever see any kind of violence like that in a cartoon. But, you know, I think that was the goal of the episode. I think it was supposed to scare you so that you would not make unwise decisions as a child about playing with any kind of weapon or anything. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it horrified me. Absolutely horrified me. And kudos to those to those creators. Kudos to the I think his name is Greg Weisman that ran the show, the famous animation guy, maybe. Kudos to them for taking a stand and saying, we're going to do something serious and we're going to show that there's consequences to someone getting in an accident like that, because I think that was actually good for me to realize that as a kid. Certainly made me more cautious after seeing that. So good for them. God bless them for trying to do something good, trying to teach a real lesson. Okay. Go. Oh yeah, Joker's gang, man. I remember just the idea of Batman Beyond actually kind of startled me when I was a kid, because I didn't know how comfortable I was with the idea that Batman could get old. I was kind of worried about that, and it sounds silly, you know, like now, because we all accept Batman Beyond. But when that idea was first kicked around, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to see a show where Batman can actually get old and have to retire, and it actually worried me. Of course, now as an adult, I think Batman Beyond is like the greatest. Oh, yeah. And, you know, and here's what I didn't realize about public service announcements in a lot of those shows, Kayla, is apparently a lot of that was being done, or at least some of it anyway, was partially being done because it was a way to skirt certain like broadcast requirements or to like get a tax break or a tax credit. Apparently the government would pay for part of the production of an episode if they were willing to do like some kind of public service announcement. It was also a way to get away with having shows on the air that like advertised toys that were like toy commercials, because apparently like He-Man, like that's why like they're adding it in there as like educational content, like and G.I. Joe. That's why they added all those in there for like some kind of educational content. Somehow you could classify it as educational programming because every network was required to air so much educational programming at this time. So apparently that counted. So the networks were like, okay, you've got to put something educational in this episode so that we can count it towards our quota that we've got to meet for the certain time slot. I was fascinated when I found out about this, and it really made a lot of things like make sense to me. Once I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, all right, I know why you did it now. There was more of a reason. I still think it was good. It had a good intention. I still think that it was, you know, it was altruism, but I also know now as an adult, I'm like, okay, there's a business side to it. There's a business side. So this is the back of Batman's head. And it's amazing how much of a curve you can get with Lego. Look at that. It's like a hill. And you just build up, and it's all just, you know, these geometric kind of little shapes. Oh, that's really satisfying, actually. That's on there, too. Like, it ain't going anywhere. All right, now it's time to start making, like, the Death Star jokes, right? We've got part of the Death Star made. That's, like, the bay where the Emperor and Darth Vader are going to hang out in there. Just going to chill. All right, so now, and this won't take too long, I don't think. This is, like, the side of Batman's head where we're going to start getting, like, the ears and stuff. So, yeah, let's make it happen. All right. Now, I've got to make sure these are the right pieces. If I don't, then we'll be in trouble here in a minute. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. All right. No more messing around. Okay. Get this on there. And then these little pieces drive me crazy. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's these, because you have to get them like to the right orientation, and there's 2 different versions of them. They always drive me nuts in every set that they appear in. I mean, they're cool and they cause you to have that nice little curve transition there, but I still say they drive me a little nuts. And they look just like all the other little black pieces. Okay, here's the other one. Okay, good. Got the square. You know, what's funny is you could technically look at this and, oh, Hamburglar. There's not hardly any costume in the history of, like, advertising that's quite as creepy as the 90s Hamburglar costume. Like, that's one for the books, because he's got, like, the big eyes, and there's just something weird about it. It's just so anthropomorphic and just so strange looking. Which there were some really weird cartoons that they made for the McDonald's gang of characters, like in the late 90s. And Kayla, you might have had this. There were like VHS tapes you could get. And they were like really like, the best way I know to describe it is like Nickelodeon kind of designs for Ronald McDonald. They were very kind of, I don't think they were supposed to be edgy, but they end up kind of looking edgy. They almost look like, what was that show called? My Life According to Ginger or something. Life According to Ginger or something. Like that's what they remind me of. Like it's really bizarre character designs. And like they were okay, but I remember just thinking, you know, I want the classic designs. Even when I was a kid, I was thinking, okay, this is weird. This is weird. I don't like this kind of feeling. All right. This in there. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be like the curve that leads up to Batman's ear right here. Ear right here. Gameplay videos. You know, Waylon, I don't get to play a whole lot of stuff these days. It's funny, the only thing I like really play very often is Animal Crossing. And I guess people do some Animal Crossing stuff, but I guess that tells you what kind of mindset I'm in, because thank you, as told by Ginger. That's right. That's exactly what these character designs looked like, Kayla. They were just so gnarly, you know. And Ginger has kind of, it's Class B Clupo, whatever that company's name was that did the Rugrats, did as told by Ginger. It has that kind of grit to it, which I've always liked. But you apply that to like the McDonald's characters, and there's something about it that's off. I don't know how else to describe it. There's something strange. It's a little unsettling. I don't know. That's right. I'll be writing the creepypasta about the McDonald's VHS tapes. All those start the same way, by the way. Every single creepypasta about like old media. It's always like, I found the tape at a yard sale, and the tape was blank. Ooh. And then I put it in, and something went wrong, and like it's always the same thing, like over and over again. Or Nightwing's mullet. Yes. I remember thinking it was really cool, like in the early 90s. I was like, oh man, yeah, that tells me that he's a real bad dude. Look at that guy. He's got a mullet. Which is funny now, you know, mullets are back, like big time. So DC Comics probably needs to go ahead and give Nightwing his mullet back while they're at it. I mean, why not, right? Which I was really glad that they kept Nightwing's mullet in the New Adventures of Batman when they did the redesigns of the characters, which most people would absolutely do not agree with me on this, like whatsoever. But I'm actually the weird guy who says that the New Adventures designs are superior to the original animated series designs. So I'm a total weirdo when it comes to my opinions on that. So definitely not a popular opinion. But I love those designs. Like, I think they're awesome. I wouldn't trade those designs for the world. Those designs are incredible. With Batman's, with the no circle look around the bat and the pouched utility belt, like that's, to me, that goes back to like the old school kind of detective-y kind of Batman. And that is what I like. I like Batman with the short ears. And it's funny because me and Zack Snyder must have the same feelings about what Batman ought to look like, because he's everything about Batman's suit and Batman v Superman, especially, is exactly what I would do. It's all, it's bulked out Batman with the short ears. That's exactly right. Business in the front, party in the back. It's Nightwing, so the party, it can just keep going. He's not like Batman. He's here to have a good time while he fights crime. I always liked that episode of the New Adventures where they flash back to show you what happened between Batman and Robin, or Dick Grayson, should I say, that caused the rift between them, because I always felt it was very believable. I don't know, something rung true about it for me, where what is it? Dick finally, he gets mad and he punches Batman in the face when he gets into a disagreement with him, and the partnership is over. So I always liked that. I thought, okay, this is, and I'm glad that they actually even took the time to address it, because most cartoons at this time in history just would have been like, yeah, it happened. Yeah, they broke up. They're not working together anymore. Ooh, favorite Alfred. That's tough. Okay, for me, this is such a generic answer, but it's for me, I can't help it. It's always going to be Michael Gow, like always. I can't, or Goff perhaps is the way. I've heard people pronounce his name both ways, but I can't let that go. I'm probably never going to be able to let it go. Just because, he was the Alfred of my childhood, and I just can't walk away from it. So, pretty great. What about you? Favorite Alfred, like ever? There's a lot of great choices. There's no shortage of wonderful Alfreds. And, and I'll keep bringing it up, I guess. I don't know why I keep bringing it up. I guess it's because, yes, Jared, it is because you're building a Lego Batman set. But I'll keep bringing up the Lego Batman movie that, Ralph Fiennes was a really good Alfred in that movie. And honestly, I really think Ralph Fiennes ought to try his hand at playing Alfred in a real live-action Batman movie. I think that that's something that needs to happen. And that sounds a little weird at first, but the truth is I think it would be awesome. I would be so happy to see that occur. I would be thrilled if they could make that happen. I'd be on cloud nine if we saw Ralph Fiennes. Michael Caine, yes. I would say that Michael Caine is probably easily my second favorite Alfred. And, it's one of these things where if you look at the Snyder movies, and I think we discussed this a little bit the other day, I absolutely love Alfred in those movies. But at the same time, I feel like he doesn't quite get the amount of emotional, like, resonance that you get in those Christopher Nolan movies. And so it's hard not to just say Michael Caine for that reason alone, because he is a king among actors, and they give him real, like, weighty emotional moments as Alfred. And the other Batman movies do not have that kind of weight for Alfred. And it's true that he's, he gets lots of good stuff in the other movies, but you're lying to yourself if you think that it's ever better. Younger Bruce Wayne. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. He would be great, which I was tickled pink when they announced that he would be taking over the M role in the James Bond movies. And that, to me, it's sort of a similar quality. M and Alfred are sort of which it's funny because one is the superior of the main character and one is the subordinate. But I mean, it's kind of like in the Snyder cut. Um, right. And it's just like in the Snyder cut when Jeremy Irons, Alfred is identified as, this is Alfred, I work for him. And it's like, yeah, kind of. And he's always like talking to Bruce like a dog or whatever. And I think that's good. I actually love Jeremy Irons as Alfred, but it's funny if you want like comic book Alfred. Jeremy Irons isn't comic book Alfred. He is the Snyder version of Alfred, which is totally has merit too. Like I love that version of Alfred. And there's so many things that people talked about that was restored in the Snyder cut, but I think that it's getting overlooked that Jeremy Irons' role as Alfred was so plussed up in the Snyder cut, because it was incredibly better. Because I mean, he practically had nothing in the Joss Whedon version of that movie. I mean, Alfred was practically a one note, nothing kind of character. So I'm sure that Jeremy Irons was glad to see that put right. All I know is that after seeing the Snyder cut of Justice League, it makes me worry about what other movies that this kind of thing has happened to where they've destroyed the final product. And the truth is, I pretty well liked the original Joss Whedon version of Justice League. It wasn't art. I thought that it was okay when I saw it. I thought it was pretty fun. But I'm not much of a super harsh critic either. But looking at the Snyder cut versus the Joss Whedon version, I will never watch the Joss Whedon version of Justice League ever again. Because I don't even want to acknowledge that it exists anymore. Because I've seen what happened. Now I know the truth about what happened. And it wasn't right what happened. And part of it is kind of a righteous indignation at Warner Brothers, anger and hurt at Joss Whedon for his role in what happened, and a whole lot of hurt feelings for how he handled himself. And of course, now the dude is having a whole lot of other problems. So, sure, I'm disappointed in Joss. That's for sure. Nobody's perfect, but I think Joss is kind of a bully, it turns out, which is not okay, in my opinion. I'm not all about cancel culture for these guys, but I think when it turns out that they were someone who abused power, then it's hard for me to have patience with something like that. It's equally frustrating for me to see Warner Brothers kind of shut out Zack Snyder, which is shocking. I don't know what Zack Snyder ever did to them besides do some really great work. So I don't know. I have no idea how that decision was made to just shut him out. But my advice for the people at Warner Brothers is that they should remember that they're technically no longer in charge of their company. AT&T bought Warner Brothers. So I have a feeling AT&T is going to just go above their heads and reinstate Snyder in some meaningful way. And they should. He deserves a chance to complete his vision, which will require, bare minimum, 2 more Justice League movies. And I'm here for it. I'm all about it. I'm ready for more Justice League movies from Zack Snyder. But honestly, I'm not interested if it's from another director. I feel like that the Snyder vision needs to be complete before we ever move on to something else. And the truth is, you look at like Robert Pattinson Batman, and they're not going to Justice League that version of Batman, I don't believe. I mean, watch me be wrong here in a few years, but to me, that looks more like okay, we're going to try to do something sort of similar in a way, in spirit, to what Chris Nolan did, which is avoid all that kind of thing and just be more about, the character himself and wanting to make more of a serious film. That's what I think this is about. I don't see it as a Justice League franchise starter opportunity kind of thing. You already have a Justice League series of films, and they're not complete. Time to complete those, Warner Brothers. You got to get that going. Don't mess up. Plus, it's hard for me to believe that they've spent all this money on remaking, essentially, Justice League or restoring it. and they're not going to follow through with like anything else. You got to be kidding me. That's not how Hollywood works. Not how it works at all. You don't make that kind of investment without any kind of plans for what happens next. All right. Old Bruce Wayne. Michael Keaton. It's kind of a cheap answer, isn't it? Which is funny, you know, it's already happening. Like right now, it's already happening. So is it even a wish like anymore? Is it even like a thing anymore for me to even say that? If it's already a thing, like he's already on the set as old Bruce Wayne. Okay, so I think you probably mean like what like other actor is probably what you mean. That isn't like an obvious kind of thing, like just, oh yeah, Michael Keaton, it's Michael Keaton. For me, you know, it's funny, the generic answer is always saying Clint Eastwood, isn't it? It's hard for me not to just say that, even though Clint, I think, is now so old at this point, bless his heart. I don't foresee him ever doing anything like that ever again, but I could be wrong. I've counted him out before, and he's, you know, he's got a new movie or something coming out. So last bag number 3. You know, I always actually thought Josh Brolin would be an excellent old Batman. I think he needs a little more time to get older, but I think Josh Brolin would be terrific. And I think he was the rumor is that he was the backup choice if Ben Affleck said no in Batman v Superman. And I really think it would have been a terrific Batman. I really do. And you know what? We may still get to see it one of these days. Anything is possible. That's what I'm going to say. Anything is possible. I never would have imagined that we would have been getting, you know, another Michael Keaton appearance as Batman. But, you know, here we are. We're about to get it, by golly. So, never count it out. That's what I'll say. Never, ever, ever. Right, last bag. So this is where we get the eyes and the blank mouth and all the little details coming together in this one. So we'll see what we've got here. All right. Go. Okay. These smooth pieces kind of drive me crazy. They're all so easy to lose in the bags. All right. Oh, I see now. So all these little surfaces were meant to like hang these off of. This is for your smooth plates. With Lego sets, do you guys think that you should always see like the bricky like exterior, or do you think it should be mostly smooth plates on a set? What do you guys think? There's a whole bunch of opinions out there about which one is better. Do you think like there should be like studs visible all over it, or do you think that like it should be as smooth and realistic as you can possibly get it? Because I don't really think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's a matter of preference. Like the Batmobile back here, there's hardly a stud on it. There's like a few. But honestly, it's mostly just smooth. Mostly. Some people can't stand for there to be studs all over a Lego set. Me, I can see it both ways. I think it depends on the set. I think there's some sets that there needs to be very few studs. There's some sets that's like part of the magic of it. All right. Take this guy. This looks like a little transparent like building. I should have called this live stream. Let me see, Batman's head's too big to fit. Yeah, I mean, okay, how about this? Come on, get in there. This could be like a super deformed, right? SD, I think is what they call it. Super deformed. Super deformed Batman. Big head mode. Big head mode. It's a cheat. It's a cheat. All right. Oh, this is funny. It's kind of making like the concave area where the mouth plate is going to go. Oh, this is hilarious. Okay, so you have like the jet. Smooth has a place, but the bumps for most things. Yeah. I think that if you hate the bumps so much, you hate like the studs. I mean, do you really even like Lego? And there's people, and I know that it's more of like a preference kind of thing, you know, and there's no right or wrong answer necessarily, and it's just all, you know, different for different folks, different strokes for different folks. But for me, I hear people are like, you know, oh, there's too many studs on that. It's almost like looking at an order of fries and saying there's too many potatoes in it. Like, that's a stupid comparison, I know. But I think it's apt. Like, what do you think a Lego is, people? It's got studs. It connects, y'all. This is funny. It looks like, because this is just a transparent piece that's meant to just tell you, hey, this is the negative space where Batman's mouth would be. It's funny because it ends up looking like a breathing apparatus. Looks like Batman's wearing like a breathing mask, or something, like a rebreather, like he's working in the mines or something. Don't think Batman's worked in the mines a day in his life. Pretty sure he's rich. All right. That'd be the last time I ever say that. Except for this time. He's rich. All right. That's good. And those little plate things. Almost there. Really, this is went along really fast. I'm surprised at how quick that this has come together, which is good because as I get older, it's funny, I'm looking almost for things that don't take forever, because Legos are supposed to be kind of a stress relief kind of exercise, and every now and then, you know, I'll build one of these huge sets that almost seems like a job, you know, and it's a fun job. But I don't want to, and for me, I feel like I have to like build it just as quick as possible. So I end up stressing myself out for something that should have just been relaxing and slow and just kind of fun and go at your own pace, kind of thing. And I turn it into a job, which I shouldn't actually do. But I've found myself doing that many a time, I'm afraid. Right. So I think we're building Batman's nose right here. I think this is what no, I won't make that joke. I was gonna make a joke about a certain pop star, but we're not gonna go there. Fill in the blanks. Mad Libs for YouTube live streams. Okay. There's one particular piece that I've struggled finding through this whole thing, and every time it calls for this piece, I find myself just looking for it aimlessly. Okay, that's not it. Where are you? I'm finding the piece, but I'm finding the wrong color. And it's not been a problem for any other piece this entire time. I have no idea why this is so difficult for me to find this. Where did you go? I'm looking for this, except it's supposed to be black, not light gray. I got no clue. Ah, here we go. See, here's the trouble. Here it is. If it turns over like this, it don't look like it. It looks like a block. But then you turn it over and it has this concave little area. Concave, that's the word of the day. Concave. There's a $10 word. Okay. Then I put that in too soon. I'm getting distracted by the awesomeness of the bat nose. The bat nose knows. Those memes where it says This is why Batman can't work in like the day, and he has the tan lines on his face. Good stuff. Look at this. Batman's nose is looking kind of strange right now. He's going to have to see a surgeon. Hopefully he doesn't see that guy from the first Batman movie that tried to fix Jack Napier's face before he becomes the Joker. He's like, you can see what tools I'm working with here. That horrified me as a kid, by the way. Like, that whole scene where the Joker is trying to go to the little plastic surgeon. Like, I wasn't a big fan of that scene. When you're like 4 years old, you're 3 years old, and I have a feeling Batman 89 was not meant for a 3 or 4 year old. I don't think they cared about making sure it was appropriate, so probably should have been watching it. Just saying. But I'm glad I did. It made me the man I am today. All right. Thanks, Mom. Let's see. All right. Everybody have a good Mother's Day. My Mother's Day was awesome because my mom is awesome. She supported my Batman habit through the years. Bless her heart. See, Mom, she was always a Barbie collector. Charlie Cox or Ben Affleck? Well, that's tough because I think they're very different versions of Daredevil. And I love both in different ways. Like, to me, like, Ben Affleck is more like certain versions of Daredevil, and then Charlie Cox is more like other versions from the comics. But I'll tell you, I was very, very, very impressed with what Charlie was able to do as Daredevil. And the rumor, and boy, oh boy, do I hope this is true, the rumor is that Charlie's coming back. Oh yeah, Kayla, she is something else. So she's one of the all-time greats. Of course, from my perspective, the greatest. I'm a little biased, though, with that opinion. Oh, she's a good one. Batman looks like he's... It's funny to see his eyes look like this. There's no, like, shaping around his eyes yet. Looks like he's just kind of staring into my soul. Yeah, Waylon, that's the rumor. I sure hope it's true, man. And if it's not, I'll be heartbroken. Because I don't know about you all, but I'm pretty sure Spider-Man needs a lawyer. After the ending of Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm thinking Spider-Man needs the best lawyer he can possibly get. And I'm pretty sure that Daredevil, Matt Murdock, I'm pretty sure that he's the one to get him out of trouble. Of course, the rumor is that he'll be Daredevil, but it'll be like nothing in the show like ever happened. It's like a new version of Daredevil. The rumor is that he'll just be playing Daredevil again, but it'll be the Marvel Studios version of Daredevil. And why on earth, and let's be real here, why on earth would they cast someone different? I mean, they already have the right guy playing Daredevil. Everybody loves him as Daredevil. Yes, he served the same purpose, kind of, in the animated series. He shows up because of some kind of... I'm trying to remember what happened. Spider-Man is in some sort of... Peter Parker, I guess, is in some sort of legal trouble, and Matt Murdock is his lawyer. I just can't remember the actual situation, but something was going on. Of course, Daredevil is my personal favorite Marvel hero. It was weird for me because I defended Ben Affleck so many years as Daredevil and said that, he was such a great Daredevil, and he was. And then to have him end up playing Batman was like a bizarre dream come true for me. Because, you know, you've got two characters that if anybody was going to, like a Marvel and a DC character, if you could reasonably say that, hey, you know, the same guy will play both of these, it would be Daredevil and Batman. Yeah, that's right. They share a villain, and not many major, and like a major villain too. Of course, in the comics, he is first a Spider-Man villain, Kingpin is, but they didn't end up really like doing anything with him. So if I remember right, I think that it was Frank Miller who said, you know, can I use the Kingpin for Daredevil because nobody's really doing anything with him. So he ends up using him to much greater effect as a Daredevil villain than as a Spider-Man villain. And it would be the greatest shame if if this new version of Spider-Man in the Marvel Studios movies never met up with a Kingpin. And especially you know, this new version of Kingpin from the Netflix shows, because that version of Kingpin is fantastic. All right. Looks like I'm assembling a pipe. Oh, wait. I know what this is. All right. You guys will know it too when I get this. This is weird. You hook it into this, and then it's flexible. And look, it's the nose. See this? You can flex Batman's nose out. Look at that. He's dislocated his nose. Has to go to a surgeon, get it operated on. Look at that. Huh. Did not expect that one. Pretty clever. Pretty clever. Pretty clever. All right. We are getting close now. Almost to the end. Almost. This is where you start making the mad dash. Feel would be better as a different character. Actors you feel would be better. Well, you know, it's funny. You made the statement one time, Kayla. I'm going to rip this off from you. You said, Kayla, that maybe Jesse Eisenberg would have been a better Flash. So that's ripped off from you. And and you know, I think that you were on the money. I think you said that years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that you were probably right about that one. Probably right. I would say, Waylon, that the only problem would be that it wouldn't pay very well. What do you think? Maybe that would be the kind of thing. I don't think it would have a good retirement. Do you think it has insurance? I don't think it has insurance. No bonuses. All right. It's funny to me how many things the Lego people have been able to use the shield piece for. So every time, you know, I'm looking at this stuff, and it's always funny ways that they're using shields. See, that's the special feature that they're not telling us about. Is it turns out you can fill this with Pez, everybody's favorite candy. Maybe that's what I need to start giving away at school. It's just massive amounts of just plain Pez, which are just sugar powder. Like, what even is a Pez? I mean, like the candy. You know what? I think the right term would be a sugar pellet. I think that's accurate, right? A sugar pellet? Could you imagine what would happen to Pez if you put it in water? I mean, wouldn't it just like disintegrate into like a sugary nothing? I bet it wouldn't even have a taste. However, though, I still like Pez. I don't know. Something about it. For me, though, I honestly think at this point that it's more of a textural thing, where I just like the texture of the Pez. All right, let's see. Okay. Boom. It's getting to that point where I'm starting to make sounds as I put Lego pieces together. Boom, boom, bada bing. I'm short-circuiting. All right. I think I'm making Batman's brow. I think we're going to give him angry eyes, as Mrs. Potato Head says. Pretty sure these are angry eyes that I'm building. Pretty sure. Okay, we have this. I saw this thing at Target, and I just had to get it. Mostly because I knew that it would look great with, like, the 89 Batmobile back there. It would be like a whole display, like Batman's cowl from the 89 movie, just, like, on display with it. Which I'll tell you, I really want the Batwing that they did from the 89 movie. I'm really wanting to grab that. I'm procrastinating on it. It's going to be one of those that, like, I'm waiting to the very last second. And then they announce it's going to retire, and I run out and grab it as quick as I can. I'm waiting to the last moment, I guess. Okay. Hopefully I'm doing this right. Okay. This. I think this is more Batman's brow. They should make the brow adjustable to where you can give Batman a range of emotions that he wouldn't actually ever have. It's like you can do happy Batman, you can do peaceful Batman, you can do I don't want to fight anymore kind of Batman. Let's see. Anything else? Nope. All right. Now I'm supposed to connect this and this. I see. So this connects right there. All right. Ooh. That's where these gray versions come in. Okay. So this goes with this one. And this goes with this one. Oh, yeah. There has never been a Batman theme written more iconic than the Danny Elfman Batman music. And, you know, probably never will be. I hate to say never, but if there's going to be one that's more iconic, I don't know what it would be. They need to get to writing it. Look at this. Yeah, I can tell that's definitely Batman's angry, furrowed brow. All right, and that connects right over Batman's eyes. Right there, plug it in, and I think I did something wrong. Okay. All right, I put something on upside down, maybe. Let me see what I did wrong here. That part looks good. Okay. I see what I did now. That'll fix it. So this plugs in right here. Yep, that's what I did. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, from the front, we look pretty done. And now it's the chin strap. And I've actually heard this is the trickiest part of the build. There's something weird about the chin. It's kind of strange in the first place that there's a chin on this Batman, because a lot of the times, you know, there isn't some kind of big, like, chin strap on a Batman costume. Usually the chin is kind of open. So don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Maybe it'll look good once I have it on there. Maybe it'll actually be cool. I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind until I see it for myself. I think these are supposed to be like the supports for the chin straps, like on the sides, I think. So I'm curious how this will actually work, because I've seen other reviewers say that this was kind of weird. So I guess we're about to find out. Okay. And these connect on the sides. That one goes there. And this one goes on the other. Put the camera down a little. Okay. You mean just like in this series or in a movie? Or in what context? Like for the Lego head series, the helmet series? Is that what you mean? That looks... Oh, that goofed up. There we go. This up here. Now, if you meant in this series, if there's a villain I would like to see, it would be neat to see the Red Hood's helmet. Because I think that that's really what this series is meant for, like helmeted. I mean, honestly, I guess it wouldn't be quite as interesting, though, would it? I mean, it would just be in a movie or series, okay. Well, you know what's funny? The answer would be exactly the same as the one I just said. I think the Red Hood is something they need to do. And I think it's something that, especially if you look at the like animated movie, how well that they did it there and Under the Red Hood, that should be all of the litmus test that they need. They should see that and see how well that movie worked and say, you know what, maybe we should just hire Jensen Ackles to play him, because he did in the movie. Oh, that looks good. Okay, we filled in that area. Because he played his voice in that movie, and he's getting ready. I believe Jensen is getting ready to play Batman's voice in The Long Halloween. So, to me, that seems like a blueprint for a movie. I mean, like a real, like a live action movie. So why not do the Red Hood? That would be my vote. Yes, I think so, Kayla. That would be my vote. I would be so excited if they announced something like that. I think the worst thing that they could do right now with these Robert Pattinson Batman movies is try to just make it a whole nother Christopher Nolan kind of thing. Like, what I mean is, like, I hope that they go their own way and it's not just trying to kind of rehash that. I don't think it is. I have faith that they're going to be very careful about doing that. I guess in my heart of hearts, though, it's weird. DC is in a weird place on film because they have splintered themselves now to where you've got a whole group of people who absolutely will not accept anything now except for Zack Snyder's DC universe, which I'm sort of like that, but I'm also definitely not like that. Like, I want to see these other versions of things. I want to see it. You know, I want to see all these like creative versions of these characters. Well, you know, Waylon, that's not a horrible observation, because it don't really look like acid. Like when it shows it very briefly, I remember as a kid, and this is a funny thing to say, I was confused. Oh yeah, I think she's gonna be great, and I thought that it was great. Just, you know, the idea, and I'm glad to see a diverse actress. You know, some people would say that was pandering or whatever. I don't think that. You know, look at Eartha Kitt. She played Catwoman and was fantastic by far. Eartha Kitt is probably the one that is the most remembered, perhaps, from the old 60s Batman series. So I'm very excited about that. And it's really funny to think that her stepfather is Jason Momoa, right? Because she's Lisa, or whatever her name is, Lisa Bonet's daughter. Am I right about that, Kayla? I am right, correct? She's Lisa Bonet's girl. You can tell I'm from the country. Isn't that her girl? That's her girl, isn't it? We can't help it. We call people each other. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. It kind of has that quality to it, doesn't it? All right. Let's see. Okay. I think that what I'm building is the chin strap. I think. Pretty sure. Maybe. Because I think it's the last thing left. I think everything else about it is done. So maybe that's what it is. All right. There. And then this goes in the back here. Yeah, I think that's what this is. I think I got the wrong piece. There we go. Okay. All right. You know, I really wish that we could have seen more of Two-Face in some of these movies. I still say Two-Face might be my favorite Batman villain, and I kind of feel like that he's underutilized. I even felt like that about Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face in The Dark Knight, because I was really hoping that he wasn't dead at the end of The Dark Knight. I was actually hoping he would be a major part of Dark Knight Rises. And when it didn't happen, I was a little disappointed. I was a little let down that because it was brilliant. Their interpretation of Two-Face was absolutely brilliant. I thought that, I can't give it enough credit for being just as brilliant as it was, because it really was. It was as good as any version of Two-Face I'd ever seen. And I hate that it just kind of, he falls off the building at the end, and that's kind of it. But I guess leave him begging for more. Maybe that's the moral of the story. Because I certainly was. I wanted to see more about Harvey Dent, more about Two-Face in the Aaron Eckhart version. I thought it was brilliant. So, kind of a shame. I feel like it was sort of a missed opportunity, maybe. I think before Heath Ledger passed away, I think the original idea was supposed to be that Two-Face wasn't going to die. I think that's what I read. That maybe the idea was going to be that the Two-Face and Joker story would continue into the next film. And I don't know, it kind of seems that way for the Joker, especially, who, does not die at the end of the movie. He is just hanging by a thread, literally. And he's kind of telling Batman, hey, we're going to see each other again. We're going to keep fighting or whatever. So it's a real shame that didn't get to happen. But, it's obvious why it didn't. Very obvious. There's really no way to move forward. I think recasting the Joker would have been... I think anybody would have told you that would have been the absolute wrong move. But I remember at the time, I was very upset about it, because I was really hoping the Joker could continue in some way in those movies. But I'm glad now, because I was a lot younger then, of course. I'm glad now that they didn't. Like, looking back, that would have been probably disastrous. Talk about the wrong thing to do. That would have been... everybody just would have... They would have known that wasn't... they would have known that didn't feel right, I think is the right word for it. Okay, now we have to hook the chin strap on. So right here, we have a little prong here that kind of just... And this is adjustable too. This is interesting. And so over here, it connects. Come on, Batman. It's kind of awkward connecting these. Okay, they're connected. Okay. I guess I sort of see what they mean. It's kind of just hanging there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I think that it was that same sinister kind of quality. Whoop, about took my camera out. Okay. And apparently one more step to completion here. And that is to get this cool printed plate onto here. I love it, love it, love it, because it's not a sticker. Thank you, Lego. There's enough stickers to float a battleship in modern Lego sets, and I have no interest in there being any more than there has to be. So we'll put this back here. Then I think that we just connect this. Love it, love it, love it when it's just a printed piece. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think that we're done, which I've ended up with a couple of extra pieces over here, so hopefully I've not missed anything. Every now and then we get some extras. Okay. Let's see what we have. Oh, yeah. Look at that. We'll do the turn here. You know, I'm impressed with how good this looks from every angle. It's not just something like you would display just from the front, and that's the only angle it looks like decent at. It actually looks really good every other way, too. I'm surprised by the shaping, how well it comes off, because it is, they've used so many funny like little tricks to get the shape right, like in 3 dimensions, like the ears. Like I'm very impressed by how well the ears come off in 3D, because that's the kind of thing that could make or break like a Lego set. I think that, yeah, I'm very surprised by how well that works, because that's usually the kind of thing that wouldn't work super well for something like this. Yeah, I'm impressed. I like it. I like it a lot. So you can adjust. Yeah, yeah, really. I don't see it happening. You can adjust this chin strap, so you can kind of like give him like a smaller face, like a bigger chin. You can have some customization. So if you give him the bigger chin, that's like Ben Affleck. Smaller chin, Michael Keaton. You know what's funny? I didn't think I would like the chin strap too much, but I do like it because it gives more of a complete feeling, like it's a complete mask, like at the bottom there. I like this. And it's hard to see because the Batmobile is behind it, but that's a transparent piece there in the mouth. So I think that adds to it as well, that it's like a museum display. And wouldn't it be funny if you could adjust these, but you can't because this is what you can do with them. But wouldn't it be funny if you could give them different emotions if they went the other way? That would break the kind of sculpting here. You make them a little angrier. But then it breaks the wide open up there, so you kind of have to keep it. They're like windshield wipers. You can take one of these. That's Batman when the helmet is really messed up and the cowl's really messed up. Then you can get the kind of, you can reenact Hamlet because it's kind of smaller. Looks like a little skull in the guy's hand. I like this. Let me grab a minifig and see about the scale here. I'm going to take one of the Pirates of Barracuda Bay here and have him roll out. Here, he had a piece of tape on him for some reason. Here we go. This is the kind of scaling that we're talking about here. I mean, so it's really pretty sizable. It's like this pirate has washed up on shore with his little musket eyebrow visors. It's Batman's latest armor. Alfred's been working on it. He shows up. There he is. He's gone exploring for Bruce Wayne's lost treasure. It's somewhere near our... This is fun. This is going to look really cool, like in my display of just other Batman stuff. Particularly, I can grab one of my other Batman minifigs real quick. I think that'll look good with it. I think taking the 89 minifigs here, I think that looks really good. because this is what I've been wanting to do. I want like a little, this kind of display going on here. That's exactly what I was thinking, Kayla. I was actually thinking, this is a really bizarre reference. You'll probably get this. I was actually thinking of the finale of the Richie Rich movie with Macaulay Culkin. That's what I was thinking, where they're on Mount Richmore. I think that's what they called it. Oh yeah, Waylon, that's one of my favorite minifigs because the Jack Nicholson Joker likeness is just like right on with that. You've got Vicky Vale, and I love the '89 Batman there because it's so intense with the sculpted cape and everything. I love it. So I think this looks good as like a little display area because I'm redoing some of my Lego displays, and I think this is definitely going to get its own shelf. I think that this looks good. Yeah. Yeah, that is exactly what I wanted it to be. And let's see here. I'm going to open up the Batmobile's cockpit. All right, Waylon, what can we do? Nothing. Oh, help. Almost. Too bad, Batman. Too bad. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, I think everything looks nice. That's definitely going to be the display that I go with on the shelf. So yeah, I'm well satisfied. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for spending your evening with me, putting together this set. Like I said, I think that it was $60, and I think that that's right about on the money for what you get here. It's a pretty sizable build. I think that it looks nice. I think it displays well. It's definitely, I think, aimed more towards the adult kind of collector market. And definitely, I think that out of the new Batman sets that came out, that probably the more popular will, of course, be the 60s Batmobile set, which we may do another live stream and build sometime this week or early next week. So I'm looking forward to that. I will have my 60s Batcave set done so that we can have that in the background and kind of be building the Batmobile as we compare it to the older one. So I think that's going to be fun, and that's going to be an interesting way to do that. But like I said, want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this evening, and hope everybody's had a great time watching. I know I've had a great time putting this set together. So guys, you all take care of yourselves, and God bless you guys, all right? Y'all have a great night. Bye, guys.